You're listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast, celebrating hunting dog heritage, competition, and community. United Kennel Club has been the hunting dog sports home for coonhounds, beagles, retrievers, pointers, cur, feist, and more for over 125 years.
Welcome back to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. This is Trevor Wade. I'm the Coonhound Program Manager at UKC, and I'm joined today by Alan Gingrich, the Director of Hunting Ops. What's going on, Alan?
Doing very well.
A little busy right now?
It is busy. You know, we got back from Autumn Oaks, Sunday afternoon, and it's so exhausting. It's such a great week, but it is exhausting. And I think even more so the older you get, and I'm starting to feel a little bit, my ankles were hurting. Doing so much walking.
That's right, yeah. Well, man, we had a great week at Autumn Oaks, and here we are just a couple of days after getting back, and we got a bunch of interviews that we got. I think we're both pleased with some of the interviews that we got, some good content, and we're going to bring that to you here in these next couple episodes. And we're just going to talk about a little bit of Autumn Oaks today. I think we just got out of a kind of a post-event meeting up there with some of our national event team, and super pleased with how Autumn Oaks went this year.
Yeah, already kind of planning for next year a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And went through some things we want to improve on, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we were all so pleased with how it went, but you made a point in the meeting that when it's going well, it's not the time to kind of let up on it. We just got time to be a little more nitpicky, and some of the fine details can always get better. There's always room for improvement, and we know that for sure.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So today we're going to start out with some, just giving some shout outs, some thank yous from some people involved before we get into some of the numbers from the event, a truly great event, and then get into some of the interviews that we got. So let's start out mentioning our sponsors and our partners. I thought we had a really good, strong prize table this year, and awards for everybody who placed in the event, and it's not possible without these folks right here. And that kind of starts out with our partners. First, you have Eukanuba, the official performance dog nutrition partner of UKC, and also Dogtra, the official GPS collar partner of UKC. Dogtra set up there right by the registration table in our building, and they looked like they were busy. They talked to a lot of folks that weekend, so that's encouraging for those guys over at Dogtra.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how many systems we gave away over the weekend, but a bunch. Same with dog food. I think it was, 60, 70, 80 bags of dog food, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And also some other prize sponsors. Sierra Busby, we should mention her. She's kind of new to our team. She's going to be doing a lot of the sponsorship details. So some of the tasks that me and you had over the weekend was to introduce her to some of these companies and people out there and help her create relationships, and that was fun. And I know on the one day we were doing prize tables, we rode around and got prizes from a lot of these people, and just can't wait to mention some of the great prize sponsors that we had for this event, starting out with Bright Eyes Light, Mr. Ray Conrad, a big supporter of UKC and a lot of our events. You got Diamond Deluxe, L&M Manufacturing. They donated a dog box and have sponsorship for a lot of UKC events. GT's Feed and Hunting Supply. They weren't able to be there this year, unfortunately, set up, but they've been a long-time sponsor of UKC, and we appreciate their sponsorship.
Yeah, they have, and I think it's just kind of an unfortunate situation with his wife was in the hospital, I guess, or whatever, kind of a last-minute deal that they couldn't make it there. But, yeah, no, big-time supporter.
Yeah. Kelly's K-Lights. I know Miss Sandra donated a whole box. About broke me down trying to carry it to the buggy, but we really appreciate that.
Yeah, she sponsors the dual championship, gives lights for each one of those breed winners, and the thermal that we gave away to the overall winner came from K-Light.
Yeah, 2nd through 10th place in registered got a Kelly K-Light. 2nd through 5th in Nite Champion got a new Bright Eyes Light. So appreciate both of those.
Absolutely.
Mule Brand Gear and Apparel. Okie Dog Supply LLC.
Yep, both of those companies are owned by the Mr. Franklin, Mike Franklin there, and he does. He's been a longtime supporter.
We have Night Light, Owens Products. I think each of our the National Grand Night Champion first place, and registered first place all got a brand new Owens dog box.
Yep.
Tier 1 Custom Calls.
Yeah, Wyatt Monin was sitting out there on the corner with his Tier 1 Custom Calls there, and I think he did all right. But, yeah, we appreciate their sponsorship.
Absolutely. Briar Creek Kennels and Hunting Supplies.
Yeah, Chris Girth, Andy Canada there. They do a fantastic job. They have some great supplies. They really support a lot of the hunters, support our events, and appreciate them.
Yeah. Crystal Hunting Lights.
Yep, and they give what did they give? 4 lights, I think, for the final 4 in the grand 16. They just kind of wanted to just to contribute to that part of it. So they would give 4 lights for that.
Yeah. And Yoder Nylon and Razor.
Yeah, kind of a new one right there, but they were one of our bigger ones for Autumn Oaks for the warm-up slams and also the Grand 16, where the $2,000 added purse comes from that. And also the Grand 16 give away a pair of boots. What all did they give? Boots, a hunting vest,
A non-spill bowl.
yeah, one of their new dog tie-outs or
Steak
whatever.
and tie-out.
Yeah, so pretty nice package, and we appreciate that very much.
Yep, absolutely. You mentioned the slams. They obviously donated $2,000 to the slams, $500 added purse each Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night,
Right.
and then the overall $500 purse to the overall winner that we recognized on Friday afternoon. So let's start out with the slams.
There we go.
Kind of a really big week for us as far as slams go. Started out Tuesday night in Liberty, Indiana at the Hannah's Creek Conservation Club. 98 dogs.
Wow, that was you couldn't believe that.
Yeah,
And
shattered our
you
old
shattered
number.
it, and having that number of entries already on the first night of it, that kind of set the stage for the whole week, and everything was just up this year.
Yeah.
Starting right from day one at the warm-up slams on Tuesday night. 98 dogs.
98 dogs.
I forget how many they had on the very first year we had the warm-up slams, but I'm going to say it was barely 40.
Yeah.
But it's just constantly growing a little bit, and that's you want to be able to to put everybody in the woods too, but good numbers, I guess, just good. Yeah. And I think the club was really tickled with that, and it sounds like they didn't have any trouble at all getting them all in the woods.
Yeah,
they had to work a little bit at it, but they got it done.
Yeah. Moving on to Wednesday night, where the slam shifted to the Delaware County Coon Hunters in Selma, Indiana. 123 dogs on Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's a very good turnout again there as well. Also up a little bit, not a whole lot, but they do a great job, And then the next night was the big one, 165, and that's the same night we had the dual championship running at off the grounds there at Wayne County, and oftentimes that takes away from the slam a little bit, because a lot of those guys are actually hunting in the duels. But look at it this year, 165.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
Great week. Jamie Estep was our master of hounds this week for the slams, and he couldn't give enough recognition to the clubs. First, the Hannah's Creek Club, Mike Lester, Kevin Cable, Mike Carmack getting dogs in the woods efficiently. Even Wednesday and Thursday night in Selma with that many dogs, 165 dogs on Thursday night with another event going on, less than an hour away.
Yep.
Jamie talked about, Randall Winchester, Darren Ridge,
Derek
Compton, that whole team getting dogs in the woods, and how efficient it was, and that they were ready to call cast not soon after entry deadline.
Yeah, well, I think you talked with Jamie a little bit on the podcast a little bit, and you're going to hear from him here after a little while. But I mentioned those clubs really talk pretty highly of him, and he's very efficient. He knows what he's doing. But they also talked highly of him. Yeah. And how he did his job and helped with that. So that's all good.
Yeah, to put a bow on that, Tuesday night, Final Four split $466 each. Wednesday night, the Final Four split $505 each. And then on Thursday night, the Final Four split $610 each. Every Plus Point cast winner at least got their money back. And for the week-long total for slam events, 386 entries over 3 nights.
That's pretty nice. On a $35 entry fee as well.
That's right. Let's shift gears into the duels a little bit. Thursday, we had the duel championship that ran in accordance with the slam event that happened in Selma. We had 94 dogs entered and ended up putting 89 in the woods. Yeah. I was super tickled with that number. That's up
number
from the past few years.
Yep.
We had 26 casts go in the woods for all the different breeds and only 2 dead casts. So that means 24 dogs advanced to the Friday night portion of the duel championship.
Yeah, just really quickly, the duel championship is made up of a dog that is entered. There has to be at least a champion on the bench and also a night champion. So that's why we call it the duel championship. And that's actually the overall winning dog there does get the degree of dual national champion.
Yeah.
It's kind of become a popular little hunt, really.
Yeah. And you were able to go over and announce the national duel championship portion of the show, and you got to see a lot of these dogs that have won their casts the night before in action. How did those dogs look?
Very, very nice. A very nice group of dogs. I think there were 24 of them that that made it to the next round. The first round they all compete against their own breed only, so it's kind of a mini breed hunt is what it amounts to. those cast winners will then advance the next day on Friday to the bench show, and in the first class they'll show against their breed, have one breed winner, and then those 7 breed winners go up against each other for the overall. But this year I saw more spectators watching that final class of the dual championship than I ever have there. So it was a packed house watching them. Good, nice group of dogs.
Yeah. And you actually, the winner this year, no stranger to this event, actually won the National Grand Champion last year, and that's going to be Scott Hogan. Scott and Connie Hogan again in the winner's circle, this time with Nite champion, water champion, grand field champion, grand champion, Midnight Brindled Bendy.
Yeah.
She's a female plot hound out of World Show champion, grand champion, Midnight Brindled Bonner, and a dog named Late Night Southern Scarlet. Pretty well-known cross there in the plot world.
It is, and he comes from a family of winners, you know, and you're going to hear from Scott here after a while. I talked to him after his win later on that afternoon. But, yeah, just a nice, a very nice dog. She looks super good. And I think she had the second highest score on Friday night in the hunt, or Thursday night.
Yeah, well, hey, let's go ahead and play the clip of your interview with Scott right now.
Saturday afternoon at Autumn Oaks, the show's over with and wrapping it up, and I finally got a hold of Scott Hogan here to talk about his big win on Thursday night at the Dual National Championship. Actually, it ended on Friday. How are you, Scott?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, so the Dual National Championship, you hunt against your breed on Thursday night, and that's dual champions only.
Yes, sir.
And then the second round, cast winners move on to the show on Friday, show against the breed winners.
Yes,
and
sir.
You win your breed there, and then those 7 breed winners go up, and we have 1 overall national dual champion, and you are the winner, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk about this little dog that took you there.
Yes, sir.
Little 4-year-old female, plot female, Midnight Brindled Bendy.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about Bendy.
So Bindi is a pup that I raised. She's off of World Show Champion Donner, and I believe, Scarlet is her mother, Corey Hall and Sasha Scarlet dog. I believe Scarlet is a Nite champion, Grand Field, Grand Show champion. I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I know she's got a lot of titles. I do know that.
Yes, sir.
I've read that dog many a times throughout the years.
Yes, sir.
Seems like anyways.
Yeah, that was a pretty famous cross for us.
Yeah, yeah. So, man, in the last, I don't know, a bunch of years, just seems you have had a lot of success with your plot hounds.
Well, thank you.
Not just
Thank
that, you know, you compete with them in all of our events, you know, night hunts, water races, field trials, everything. It just seems like they're very well-rounded hounds, huh?
Yes, they are. I've been fortunate. I got lucky. Call it what you want. Selective breeding, working hard, but this line of dogs is very versatile. From field trials to water races to shows to night hunts, just seems like things just seem to come easy to them.
Yeah. So how long have you had this specific strain of plot hounds? Has this been the same strain you've always had, or?
Yes, sir. It all started back with a dog I used to campaign a lot in the shows and in the hunts was Nite champion, grand champion, Midnight Brindled Blitz.
Yeah.
And we bred Blitz to my wife's female grand champion, Midnight Brindled Black Brandy. And from there, it's just one generation after another another. And
so this dog has Bendy has Blitz in her pedigree as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So 4-year-old. So I assume you raised her from a puppy, trained her and everything.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So what is it that you like about this dog?
So I you know, training Bendy from a puppy up. I mean, and you hear this a lot, right? But Bendy treated her first coon at 6.5 months old by herself.
Yeah.
And she's just one dog that the more we went along, the better she has gotten, the more independent she has become. She made Nite champion really fast. And then I started working with another hound, which I hope everybody to hear about here shortly. I put Bendy on the back burner, and I 4-way granded plot male. His name's Midnight Brindled TJ. And then after TJ got finished here about 3 weeks ago, I broke Bendy out and started going again with Bendy.
Yeah.
So Yeah, here we go again. Right?
So she was going to be your dual dog for this year for how long? When did you make that decision, or how did you make that decision?
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to have her out here last year for the duels, but we made a decision to breed her, and she was with pups last year at this event. So
yes. So you mentioned, you've raised this line of dogs for a while, been successful with them. She's got some other litter mates that you've also done well with it.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. What are some of those dogs?
So her brother is national grand show champion of Autumn Oaks Midnight Brindled Bonfire. They are litter mates.
Yeah. Bonfire. Yeah.
There's been some other ones in there. The male dog that won today, grand male, is Zoll, Corey and Sasha Hawes Zoll.
Yeah.
One of my buddies from childhood, Larry Jenkins, grand show champion, Hall of Fame, Dixie Delight. Let's see, Hannah Cable's Midnight Gambler dog is
That's
a litter
right.
mate.
That's one of those.
Corey and Sasha Hall's Rosie female was breed winner at Autumn Oaks one year. God, if I'm forgetting anybody, I'm sorry. But it just seemed like that litter, there literally, honestly wasn't a bad pup in that litter.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the Donner and Scarlet cross.
Hey, as a breeder and owner, breeder, handler, having success like that with a strain of dogs just got to be very satisfying.
It is. And I just kept with it. And then when that, everybody says that one special dog comes along, and Donner, when Connie won the world in 2018 with Donner,
her daddy,
Bindy's daddy, we actually crossed Donner to Wayne Steele's female, and the very following year, Dibbs, grand show champion, world show champion, Dibbs was out of Donner.
Yeah.
So it was like Donner won the world and a year later produced the world.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy with that. And then I thought, well, what more can we do? What other titles can we catch? You know? So set my sights on this dual championship title. I don't want to sound bold or modest, but it's the only title that me and Connie haven't owned.
Yeah.
And so now this completes it.
Yeah.
And I still got some bigger sights set. I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've just had really good luck with this line of plots, and everybody that knows me knows from the time that I was 10 to the time that I was 30, I would only hunt a walker dog.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I had some really good, famous walker dogs, but Connie got me into these plot dogs, and I went through a pile of them before I could find one that would run a tree the way I wanted it to, and we just been very successful in this line of dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you have. So the dual championship starts on Thursday night. Tell us a little bit about that cast. Looks like she kind of dominated the cast.
Well, I mean,
at the end score looks that way, anyways.
Yeah, the end score looks that way, but I will say this: that you couldn't have asked to draw out against a nicer group of guys. Lucas Murphy, Chris Matney, top people. The little Grand Night female that Lucas was hunting, just an awesome hound, and matter of fact, she is a full-blown litter mate to my TJ dog.
Okay.
So I kind of knew it. I never hunted with Bella, but I kind of knew what to expect from her. Very fast, very, very hard tree dog. Nice, just clean dog, right? And the Hulk dog, very nice dog, very good, mild-mannered, good acting male. And them three dogs, I will say this, they never got split from each other all night. They worked together as a pack.
Yeah.
And it was just good. I mean, it was a great cast. It was fun. We never had a question. We never had an argument. We never had a complaint. It was just a total enjoyable night. And, I guess the hardest part about that night for me, right, was after I come back and won the cast. And then I didn't sleep at all because my mind's thinking, what other dogs have come in, because then I'm worried about that.
Yeah.
And this is why this dual championship means so much to me, because I know some people think that I'm just a show person, but I'm a coon hunter first, show second.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted this title to kind of stamp that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's such a hard thing because even if you do win your cast, you got the whole next day to worry about this judge gonna like this hound?
Yeah.
And it's so hard. It's just, and it meant so much to me.
Mm-hmm.
It really has. And being that she's the national duel champion and her brother last year, Bonfire, won the national grand champion. God, I just couldn't tell you how I felt.
Her daddy's won the world championship. You know,
Yes,
I can't relate, you know, but man,
it's been crazy, man. It has been crazy.
Yeah. So then, you know, so up in the show, I forget how many plot winners we had in the show.
Three.
There
Was nine cast or nine
dogs
duels.
Yep.
All 3 casts came back with plus points.
Yeah. So she had to beat 2 other plots in the show.
Yes, sir.
And then go up against the 7 or the 6 other breed winners. And,
yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
Judge gave her the nod.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, it's a high that no druggie could ever get, right? It's amazing.
Well, I'm tickled for you. And,
thank you.
And,
thank you,
even
JC,
more so when you hear the story, your aspirations, you know, and you guys competing in all the events with your dogs and having success like that. It's a good story.
Yeah, and Bindy's pretty fast in the water. And in a field trial, I think she went 18-0.
Really?
She's never lost a field trial.
Yeah.
You know, and she's just one of them dogs. Stuff comes easy to her. She listens. She minds.
Yeah.
I bred her to Grand Nite champion Flatland High, to Randy Schweitzer's dog.
Yeah.
And these puppies are looking awesome.
Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what that brings. You know what I mean? Maybe next year.
Well, hey, good deal. I won't take any more of your time, but we'll be sending you another dual national championship title degree, I guess, that will go on the dog's record.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
So congratulations
thank
again.
UKC, and thanks everybody. Thank Chris Matney for guiding. Thanks Lucas Murphy for judging. Thank Danielle Champ for judging the dog in the show. And it's been a great weekend.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I talked to Scott about this dog, and as you could hear, you know, he talked about the family of dogs that are in here. They're no accident. You know, one of the things that you're going to hear from Scott, you see him at a lot of the shows and stuff. What you probably don't see so much is him in the hunts, but Scott and Connie, his wife, they compete in all the events, water races, field trials, everything, you know. And you heard Scott say, you know, I'm a coon hunter first. You know, so a dog that doesn't hunt is not going to be in his kennel. You know, so that's first and foremost. But not just that. You know, it's pretty interesting. He talked about his where he started with his line of dogs and what they have today. It's pretty impressive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our partners at Dogtra have just launched an exclusive program available only to active UKC competitors. So if you've competed any time this year or plan to compete in any future UKC events, you can qualify to receive exclusive benefits through Dogtra. Take advantage of this exclusive program and become a Dogtra competition field staff today. To sign up, visit Dogtra.com/Dogtra competition field staff. That's Dogtra.com/Dogtra competition field staff. Well, also going on that Thursday, talking about the National Duel Championship, we also had the confirmation show, kind of a coonhound specialty confirmation show that we've had the past few years, and really successful event this year. I know our all-breed team and our vice president, Nicole, was super excited about the entry they had over there. Got to give a shout out to the judges, Diana Brumbo and Stephen Melgreen, for being able to run through that many dogs in the time that they did in their rings. And it was tight. I made it over there in time maybe to see who the best in show was. And this year it was Jason Hunter. Jason Hunter, he was handling a dog, Second Winds Stunning in Stilettos. That's owned by his mom, Janice Hunter, and they're from Branford, Florida down there.
Yeah, this dog is sired by Stylish Handsome Hank, and the dam is Cisco C. Sienna. But yeah, Jason is is a great handler. You know, he's been handling dogs for a long time, and he was super, super excited after that win. You know, I went up there and shook his hand. He just hugged me, and he said, this is what he dreams about, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, and not just that, they had the hurricane coming up through Florida, and that hurricane pretty much went right through where he and his parents lived down there. So I've not heard how much damage it did, you know, but they were right in the path of that hurricane, you know. So they'd come up to Autumn Oaks, you know, the week before, and kind of away from home. That had to be on their mind all weekend long. But hey, congratulations to them on winning this big event on Thursday. 163 entries. Another good entry.
Absolutely, it
Yeah.
was. One thing, Jason, I friends with him on Facebook there, and he was posting some videos. He has a new content platform. He was interviewing some youth and some different folks out there. So I enjoyed him catching a little content out there as well. That was some fun listens.
And yeah, exactly right. He does a great job interviewing those folks.
I guess while we're there, we could kind of mention that a little bit. For the second year in a row here, we've had our little media center there at Autumn Oaks in the Coleman Center. We had our big Hunting Ops podcast booth in the Coleman Center, and we had a few more in there with us. We had the Fueled by Joy podcast in there. Josh Michaelis was sharing content all week, and I enjoyed watching a lot of his stuff. Of course, I didn't get to watch it till Monday when I was at home, but
he does a great job with it. He had his buddy Stephen Green in there with him part of the time, you know, and they did a great job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. We also had Going to the Dogs podcast in there, Steve Fielder in there, and of course, last week you would have heard the interview or the podcast that me, you, and Steve had when we talked about 70 years of night hunts with UKC. We hope you enjoyed that one. That was a fun one to do.
Yeah, it sure was.
And then also
kind of a long one there, but yeah.
That's
it was fun to do, though.
And also the Coonhound Confidential guys, Daniel, Dustin, and Ryan from down in South Carolina were there. Hopefully they got some good content. As of today, I haven't seen it quite yet, but I'm sure that they got some interviews. I did see them interviewing some people. And outside, we had a few Tree Talking Media, Ben Sheets. He went out on the final cast with us, actually, and got some good pictures of dogs in action on the final cast of the Grand 16. And then the Houndsman XP guys were everywhere. I saw Chris here and Bryce Matthews here and
Heath Hyatt there. He was there, yeah.
They were well represented. And we appreciate all those media platforms being out there. We appreciate all you guys do for the Hound Hunters. Okay, so let's get into the show portion of the event. We got started up Friday morning, the actual show portion of it with our
bench
registered
show part,
got it with our registered class coming in, and they had 97 registered dogs after all the smoke settled. And after the registered portion of it, they got into the dual championship part of it, which we've already talked about. But 97 dogs and 24, really strong. That segues into Saturday when we started out with the champion class, had an 88 dog entry in the champion class, 86 grand champions after that to crown our national grand champion. And I kept hearing how good and efficient Danielle Champ and Eric Brooks were. I think they might have. Nicole and Megan were really pleased with how the show flowed, and they had high regards for the show judges. Yeah. That goes a long way.
They talked about the stewards a little bit in our meeting this morning, and it was kind of Eric Brooks had both of his kids. One of them stewarded one day with Jordan one day, and then his oldest son there the opposite day.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're hearing that all together, the registered portion of the show, which is the register, the champions, and grands all together, it ended up being a 271 dog entry. And when you add all of the show together from Thursday through Saturday, 458 entries over the confirmation of the bench show portion of it.
Pretty good.
Really
pretty
strong
good week.
entry.
Yep.
And the big winner of the weekend, it's going to be someone who is, no surprise, actually judged this show last year. And that's this dog is a confirmation champion, grand champion, Wabash River Lost Highway, Redbone male, owned by Andy Emery, Keith Emery, Curtis Elburn, and Nikki Elburn. And Andy and Keith are out of Lake Lure, North Carolina.
Yeah, they've been showing dogs. We have we talked about this multiple times, but you know, Andy and her sister, Nikki, Curtis and Kathy Elburn, they're their daughters, and they have been coming to Autumn Oaks since they were in strollers, and we have pictures to prove that, you know. So they've just always brought good dogs. You know, their dad had dogs back in the day, and they've still got that same line of dogs. And I got a chance to sit down with Andy and Curtis both, and we talked about some of that. So It's a good listen. Now, when we sat down, it was you guys were taking entries at the on Friday or on Saturday there for the hunt. So there was a long line there. It was a little bit noisy in there, so hopefully we won't have a whole lot of background noise. But here's Andy and her dad, Curtis, talking about the Red Bones and their win here this weekend at Autumn Oaks. Well, here we are towards the end of the afternoon, Saturday at Autumn Oaks, and I'm sitting here with one of the big show winners, Miss Andy. I always want to call you Elburn, but it's Emery now.
Yep.
Andy Emery. Congratulations. You're the big winner in the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And your dad's also here, Curtis Elburn.
Yes.
Yeah. Looking like ZZ Top. I told him yesterday if he's not careful, old Gibbons is going to hire him to play bass.
Yeah. Yep.
He says he's been getting into some competitions with the Longhorns and the Beards.
Beard
now.
competitions. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what dog did you win? Lost Highway was the big winner today. National Grand Champion.
Yep. National Grand Champion. We call him Hank.
Yeah.
His registered name is Wabash River Lost Highway. He's just turned 3. And he's a pretty special dog for us.
So let's dig into his history a little bit. How did old Highway? What do you call him?
Hank.
Hank.
Yeah, we call him Hank.
Yeah, Hank. So how did he come about? I'm sure you probably raised him like a lot of your dogs.
Yeah, we bred and raised him. Bred and raised the long line of red bones. He comes from, Dad started breeding red bones in the 70s, and he comes from the same line. A few outcrosses here and there. We bought his mother as a puppy. I saw a picture of her and just fell in love with her, and we raised a nice litter of puppies off of Marlboro Red.
Marlboro Red, and the mother is who?
Whole lot of Rosie.
Okay, Whole lot of Rosie. Yeah.
And
it's kind of noisy around here. We're in the hunt department here, and everybody's talking around us here. Need some headphones, I guess. But but then go ahead.
We just made a nice cross. She raised a pretty litter, and he was kind of the one that caught my eye from the start, and we've held on to him, and he's been really successful.
Yeah,
he's been doing a good job. He's a nice hound.
So how long have you had him granded?
Well, I was not going to grand him for this. I was going to leave him champion.
Really?
He just turned 3.
Yeah.
I was going to leave him champion and bring Marlboro Red, his dad, for one last time as a grand. And Lisa Bedingfield and my sister Nikki, they said, you would be an idiot if you don't grand this dog right now, this time. Like, grand him now, he's ready. So we actually just granded him at Redbone Days this year when he won Redbone Days. Granded him.
Yeah. But it really worked out then, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
They were right.
Yeah. Well, Curtis, I want to go to you a little bit. When did you start with this? Have you always had basically the same, started with a strain of red bones and that's what you built your line from, or where did you start?
When I was a young teen, my dad bought a dog and it was a red bone. And I thought there weren't a lot of them around, and I think this is what I want to do. So this is not what these dogs come from, but in my younger years, I purchased a couple red dogs, and what we have now goes back to them. Yeah. One way or the other.
Yeah. Do you so looking back at those days, some of those early hounds that you had from that earlier part of the strain, how do the ones today compare? Do you feel like they've improved a lot?
We've improved a lot on the breeding. Andy's done a great job of improving and making the right crosses.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still today? How many litters? Do you still raise several litters a year? Or not really.
Just very few.
Yeah.
Just mostly raise them for our own needs. And
yeah. And I know you still like to hunt a little bit. You got some grandsons to hunt with now.
Yeah. Got the whole family going, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So I know you still show dogs this weekend as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I done pretty good this weekend, and I think still get around a little bit. This is my 51st year, and I think this may be one of the top years.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of success here, but this was a pretty special one.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you've won some big shows. You've won the World Championship before, and so at a show like Autumn Oaks, you're hunting the same, or a show in the same breed and everything. Do you compete in the same classes a lot? Are you up against each other a lot in the same classes?
Us?
Yeah, you too.
No,
Not really.
Not a lot. We try to just focus on the one dog that we feel like is the best.
Yeah.
So not usually showing a ton of dogs.
Yeah. Well, what my question was going to be is if you're just very competitive and try to outdo each other, if there's any bragging rights in the family.
Oh
or
yeah,
not.
a little bit. The worst ones are kids now.
Oh, yeah.
The grandkids
Yeah.
are the ones that really enjoy beating me and Nikki and Dad.
Yeah. And then you have Peyton too, your daughter.
Yep.
She's getting pretty handy at it as
She
well.
is. Yep, she got a breed win this weekend.
Did
Her
she?
first time.
Yeah,
First time at
yeah.
Automo's getting a breed win with
Yeah.
her black and tan. So
Yeah.
she's pretty pleased with herself too.
Yeah.
So she did great.
Curtis, I'm sure that makes you proud to see that you're not only your daughters, but also the grandkids kind of taking a liking to the sport and doing well, huh?
It's awesome what they've done. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So then you also had another big win today with Rosie. I guess you won the grand champion female part with Rosie.
Yeah, Rosie won the grand female opposite sex.
Yeah.
Red bone. She's nice, and I think it's a good compliment to the judge that he picked a lot of likenesses because he picked two dogs that were built very similar. Obviously, Hank's built like his mother, and so I thought the judging was very good today in both rings.
So I know you have been coming here since you were as little as these kids running around here around us right now, but
smaller. And
and you probably still remember those days a lot. But and a lot of things have changed, but there's still a lot of things that are the same, I guess. And things look different, I guess. But it's still a good time here at Oaks. I see for a lot of people, I think.
Oh yeah. So, it's a great time. Good time for family to come together and do traditional Autumn Oaks things.
Yeah. So what's the next? You've won so many different things, but what other goals do you have? Any near goals you have in mind?
Well, Hank's a pretty special dog, so we'll
world championship
make a run maybe at the world.
Yeah.
See how that goes. Maybe if he can pull out a breed, we'll be successful.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see how he does.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been very successful over a lot of years, and we appreciate always seeing you guys here and bringing your nice hounds. And I appreciate you guys sitting down here with me for a little bit. And congratulations on your big win.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Yeah, so there you have it. They've been they've always had a good line, a good strain of red bones that they've raised for a lot of years, and it's they've done a lot of winning over the years too. But you could just tell still how much they've won the world championship. They've won all the big shows over the course of these years at some point or other, But you could tell that this win it still means a whole lot to them.
Yeah, well deserved, and congratulations to them.
And a really, really nice dog.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into the hunt side of it. Friday was a little bit hectic. It was a little intimidating standing there behind the table. Really, really long grand night champion lines and walk-up entry lines. We had a good pre-entry for it, but I knew that the walk-ups would still come. We had over 100 walk-ups on Friday. And
you were one nervous cat, weren't you?
I was probably the most anxious I've ever been.
And rightfully so. I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Pre-entries, you kind of have an idea of what to shoot for. When you have walk-ups, you have no idea what's going to happen as far as guides go. You got to depend on walk-up entries to guide you, and we put a lot of faith in our satellite clubs. And I want to mention them real quick because this hunt doesn't happen without the clubs that put this event on. The first, of course, is the one right there off the grounds, the Wayne County Coon Hunters. They kind of have had new leadership this year. They were kind of learning as they went, and then they were able to give us all the guides we needed for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, and we appreciate the job that they did there, the Wayne County Coon Hunters.
Absolutely, and they've got a couple of young guys that are kind of stepping up. Chase Blevins and a couple others that have really stepped it up and helping. And they've got some other older fellows as well. So everybody kind of worked together. They did a good job.
Yeah. And then we, of course, had our 3 satellite clubs. We sent a pile of dogs to Limberlost Coon Hunters Club over in Bryan over the weekend. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know how many casts went up there. A lot.
Yeah, both nights.
Yeah.
Both nights.
I'm sure they packed their clubhouse up there.
Hopefully they did good.
Yeah.
Also, one of our dependable satellite clubs, Shelby County Sportsman's Club in Shelbyville, Indiana.
We've used them ever since I've been a part of UKC since 2004, and I don't know how long it was before that, but I've always been able to count on them, and they've helped us out tremendously. And it's a great club to hunt out of.
Yeah.
they might, generally speaking, they might not quite have the game, and you never know. It depends on the night too, but, you go north, the potential of getting into more game is probably greater than going south to Shelbyville. But nevertheless, there's a lot of dogs that place come out of Shelbyville.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, you sometimes hear complaints about people having to drive to Convoy, but if you drive to Convoy, you're going to be in raccoons.
You are. And they've done such a great job. They always make sure they've got food for the hunters that go up there, and they're just tickled to have them up there too, and they feed them. They usually have some raffles and things like that going on, but it's a good little hike up there. But usually you go up there, they can usually, like anything else, it's not a guarantee, but usually you can't draw a bad guide up there.
That's right. And that's the Van Wert County Coonhound Association in Convoy, Ohio. And as this is the Hunting Ops podcast, we should probably talk about the hunting side of things.
Yeah, probably should.
I think even with so many walk-up entries and having a hunt that was way up this year compared to the last couple, everything on the hunt side of it went as smooth as could be. I think we're nailing down our processes. We had a lot of strong people there, and I just want to give kudos to our hunting ops team that we took with us. We had Lacey Merriam and Morgan Williams come with us from the office here to do a lot of that stuff. Katie Ruffing, who usually specializes in the media side of things, was over there helping us.
She does, and she's kind of new. And I just want to point out with Katie, one of the reasons we wanted to have her there, because she is working a lot on a website, a new updated website for us, and to have her along with one of the things we're going to get into is a lot of online reservation type entries and things like that. She's going to be the one working with us or working for us to build those platforms. So taking her to an event like this, to give her an idea of what it looks like, to help her better understand how things work, I think is just going to help us in that regard. She did a great job.
Absolutely.
Smart lady. Picked up on things very quickly.
And it helps having a good group of field reps there, which we always do. And we give them a shout out here. Doug Cundiff, who worked off the grounds. Jamie Estep went up to Bryant for us. Tim Gilchrist worked out of Shelbyville, and Brandon Scalf went to Convoy for us.
Yeah.
And they help a lot in our reservation process. They help us put casts together after walk-ups and all that stuff, and some of the best in the business right there. That group
it is. Tim kind of made fun of us yesterday or whenever, a couple of days ago, when everybody's talking about being exhausted, and then in the group text or whatever we had, and then Tim comes on and he said, well, when he got home, he did about, he went out and worked till dark on his whatever, mowing hay or something,
Yep.
It turns out he took a nap for 3 hours before he went out, so I think it was almost dark before he got started.
Right.
We got you, Tim. You ain't pulling that on us. Oldest guy in the whole crew, and he thinks But no, hey, those guys do a great job, and it takes a big team to put this on.
It does. Yep, absolutely. Couldn't be more pleased. And then when you're there drawing casts, that's whenever you did your opening ceremonies with everybody in there. Went great. And that's whenever we recognized our Slam Series winner.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have mentioned him earlier, but this is a local guy, Derek Compton. He's out of Losentville, Indiana, and he was hunting a dog, Grand Night champion Whitey Stylish Abbey, female tree and walker. He was able to get double cast wins Wednesday and Thursday night for a total of $625, and that was enough to take the $500 added purse.
Yeah, he's got a nice little female off a stylish little Whitey Stylish. Win no name is the dam of that dog, but Wednesday night he scored 175, and then Thursday night he had a score of 450, and I don't know how many dogs they had with double cast wins at the zones, but that's what we go by first is multiple cast wins. And then I'm sure he was tied with some others, but his total 2-night score of 625 is what got him the win. And a nice little $500 bonus for that. So congratulations to Derek.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's get to the hunt portion of it.
Yep.
Friday, super busy. We ended up with 511 dogs entered. And then on Saturday, way down. Obviously, all the grands hunt on Friday. On Saturday, I had 179. So that was a total of 690 entries over the course of the weekend.
Yeah.
And just to talk go ahead.
No, that's kind of lopsided. We talked about that. Sometimes it'd be nicer for us to, where it would be a little more, not quite as lopsided, I guess. But as long as we can handle it, that's all fine and dandy. The other thing was Saturday, we do the Grand 16 and make a big deal out of that, which, and rightfully so. So it does make it kind of nice when there's not as many on Saturday, so long as we can handle them all on Friday. And you talked about the long walk-up lines and everything, being nervous about being able to get them all out. I did not think we would.
Right.
And we have never had to turn anybody away since I've been here since 2004. But I really thought this year was going to be that year.
Yeah. And we were very honest with the Nite champion and registered hunters as they entered. You probably have a better chance on Saturday to hunt than you do tonight.
Yeah, well, see, the Grands, we had more Grand guides than we needed, than we could use, but it was in the Nite champion and the registered divisions where we needed more guides. But once we got everything back there and saw exactly how many we still needed, you were like, what?
Yeah.
I've still got some left over.
Yeah, I think we had 4 non-hunting guides left over, all from the ground. So we were able to use all our satellite club.
And that was awesome.
Absolutely. Let's talk about complete weekend numbers here. 690 entered, like I said there. In the grand category, 360 coons seen, 246 scored, only 4 dead cast, and they ended up scoring on 3.5 coons per cast.
It's pretty
good.
Strong. Pretty strong average.
Yep. Nite champions, 133 Nite champions were entered over the weekend. In those casts, there was 114 coons seen, 95 scored, only 4 dead casts, and that comes out to an average of 2.6 coons scored per cast.
Yeah.
And the registered, as you would think, a lot of young dogs, they had the hardest time treeing coons, looks like. 202 registered dogs over the weekend, 137 coons seen, 82 scored. They had 11 dead casts and treed 1.7 coon per cast.
Hey, that's kind of interesting. You have the percentage there per category like that, and probably the way it should be. The Grands, they had the better average, obviously. The one number that I want to point out in the Grands, 261 Grand Nights. That is a record for Autumn Oaks. We've never hunted anything even quite that close.
Yeah, very strong.
Very strong. Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so let's Tuesday through Saturday night, 1,170 dogs entered in the night hunts Tuesday through Saturday night.
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the guides. Thanks for all the judges, and thanks to all the host clubs that put those many dogs in the woods.
Absolutely.
And let's talk about a hunt winner now. When everything was done on Friday, we had our Grand 16. We had our early round, and then we had a good late round cast. No rain for the first time in the past few years, so we were able to go out. Tracking conditions weren't ideal. Super bright moon. It was dry. Obviously, there's been a lot of dogs through that area all week long. But our winner here, Grand Nite champion After Dark Ferris, owned by Lee Varner, was able to grub out a coon out of a bean field. He had it on the outside, and he was able to take home the title of National Grand Nite champion.
Yeah, we did the play-by-play. You went out with the cast, and I stayed at the hotel, and neither one of us even went. I should have got me a little nap in before that, but I kind of got caught up kind of checking out some other results stuff, and it's kind of the first time I had the opportunity to do so. And I didn't dare go to sleep because I was afraid I wouldn't wake up when it was time to do the play-by-play. But yeah, they kind of, and actually all day, or the Saturday night's hunt, you could see by looking at the scorecards, the scores just overall just weren't as great on Saturday as it was.
Across all categories were down.
Yep. It was, but so yeah, in that late cast of the Grand 16 here, those dogs struggled a little bit. It was kind of tough to, but this dog, yeah, if you go to the play-by-play on our forums, Coon Hound forums on the UKC website, is where you'll see the play-by-play, and you'll see where Ferris he got him out in a bean field and worked this raccoon around there for a while. And for those of you who don't know, get a good running coon in a thick bean field this time of the year. A lot of dogs will struggle pretty hard. Yeah. Everything is so thick, and not just that thick, and it's not it's not matured yet or drying up yet. So it can be tough on a dog. Sure. I remember, having dogs sometimes in the heat of summer, getting in those bean fields where every now and then you might see a dog popping his head out just to get air.
Sure.
And it's there's not much air movement down underneath those beans, but a lot of times the dogs their noses get worked up pretty hard, running through beans like that. But he got that sucker out of there and put him up a tree on the edge of the field there, and ended up, as it turned out, that was the winning raccoon.
Yep, that's all he needed. And I think you pulled out, you got some information on the Ferris's lineage, maybe?
Yeah. He is he's sired by Bauer's After Dark Mikey, And I'm not really too familiar with that dog, so I did look at back, but it goes back to Sackett Junior line. So we're all familiar with the Sackett Junior line there on the top side. And then on the maternal side, a registered dog, just Hickman's Honey Bee, is off a Schooner River Bear.
Okay.
Which is a dog that Daniel Wilson owned. That was in the Grand 16, probably, I think maybe the second year we had the Grand 16 at Autumn Oaks. So her sire has been there, done that. And obviously Schooner River Bear is out of Schooner River Fred.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fair.
And no accident here, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And Lee Varner, you probably know him better than I do. I've known the name for a long time. And honestly, I didn't even get a chance to talk to him down there. I thought this week I just got to call him up and personally congratulate him when the dust settles here a little bit. But from what I hear, just a super nice guy.
Yeah, he is. I've known him for a long time. He's from down there in East Tennessee, where I'm from. Seen him at a lot of hunts before I moved up here.
Yeah.
And I was glad I got the chance to interview him soon after his win. And I'm going to play this interview here with Lee Varner. Hope you enjoy it. All right, guys, we're here on Sunday morning. Just got done doing awards, and I'm sitting down with the 2023 National Grand Nite Champion, Lee Varner. How you doing today, Lee?
Good, Trevor. How about yourself?
Good, good. I know we just got done hunting last night, I feel like, and we're already in here doing awards and everything. Did you get any sleep last night?
Not much. Not much at all.
I got you. Well, National Grand Nite Champion, you won it with your dog After Dark Ferris. Let's talk about him a little bit first. How did you get him? Maybe some of his lineage, and just tell us about Ferris a little bit.
I tried Ferris last year in the dead of winter. A guy in Kentucky had him, and the night I tried him, it was like 9 degrees. Ground was froze over, and I got about halfway there, and the guy called me and said, "Man, this weather's horrible. Are you still coming?" I said, "Yeah." So I went on, and that night, first time we'd cut him, first drop we cut him, he was like 1.5 miles in 6 minutes at a coon tree. We got him off that, took him to another place. He went in a place, trailed around a little bit more than I wanted him to, made a bad tree, and I didn't buy him. So another guy down around our country got him, and I regretted on the way home that I didn't buy him. And I told that other boy if he got ready to sell him, if he ever got ready to sell him, to give me a call, and he did, and I bought him.
I got you. Do you know what he's out of?
Yeah, he's off from After Dark Mikey. If I'm not mistaken, a dog from upper northern Ohio.
I got you. And what's kind of his hunt style a little bit? How would you describe him to somebody?
Big, hard hunting dog. Real quick hunter. Likes the edge. Moves really, really good.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that you mentioned last night before we even went out, and probably one of the things that you felt was in your favor is probably one of the more accurate dogs you've had. You've had some nice dogs, but you mentioned that his accuracy kind of sets him apart in your eyes. Is that true?
Deadly accurate, Trevor. Deadly accurate.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. That's his strong suit. Takes a coon to make him tree. I mean, if he trees, he's going to have a coon.
Yeah. Well, we haven't known each other for forever, Lee, but I've known you way before I got this job back hunting down in Southeast Tennessee. And I know you a little bit, but for everybody listening here, tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe how you got into coon hunting, maybe the short version of that.
I've coon hunted all my life. I coon hunted with my papa and my dad. Me and my wife first started, when we first got together and got married, I told her if she'd let me coon hunt until I was 30, that I'd quit and we'd start a family, and that's what we did. So I quit for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And one day, her and my little boy was, he's not little now, but my boy was cleaning out the garage, and they was looking at a bunch of stuff that I'd won before. I had some stuff from Grand American, the World Hunts, and this, that, and another. And my boy kind of got the bug, and he asked his mom, said, "You think we could get another coon dog?" And when I come home from work that day, she had said that to me, and I told her, I said, "I'm going to leave that totally up to you." I said, because I made you that promise. And she said she didn't care. She said she was at the, we're at the point in our marriage now. If that's what you want to do, then that's what we'll do. But I take it pretty serious. I mean, try to hunt as much as I can, hunt real hard. I got my own business, so that kind of makes it nice. But it's just something I've always loved, and I knew that when I quit, like I said, to raise my family, that I couldn't be competitive and not put the time in. So I just didn't want to do it if I couldn't be competitive.
Yeah. You've done well on the competition scene as well. I know you hunt hard through the week, but you also enjoy going to the competitions Has that been the case ever since you got into it, or did that come a little bit later on?
No, I mean, like I said, man, I probably hunted my first hunt probably about 17. A preacher back home where we live had a dog that I handled. So my dad and Papa really never didn't like the competition hunts. They were more pleasure hunters, but I kind of got hooked up with a preacher when I was younger and started hunting some dogs for him, and that's kind of where I got started. And then I started hunting dogs for Alan Smith and Bobby Allen.
I got you. Well, coming up here to Autumn Oaks the past few years since I've worked here at UKC, seems like this is one event that you seem to always try to hit. We talked about a little bit last night. You've had a lot of success in the registered and Nite champion categories the past few years, and this year had a grand night and was able to make some noise with it. But what is it about this event specifically? Is it the locale or just the prestige of it, or what is it about Autumn Oaks that gets you out of East Tennessee and gets you up here?
I mean, man, I would just have to say this has got to be one of the, year in, year out, since competition hunts been going on, it's got to be one of the biggest, most prestigious hunts, in my opinion. I mean, man, it's an old hunt. It's in a great area. I mean, y'all are really doing a good job with it. I mean, it's the coverage that y'all have on it now, the publicity that it brings. I mean, I definitely think that y'all got it headed in the right direction too, of taking it to another level. I mean, I know it's already been a big time hunt, but I think that y'all are really growing it.
Yeah. And you seem to always be able to guide in this area. You got some connects around here, I guess.
Man, I'd have to say yeah on that. I mean, Kevin, Angie Cable. I mean, man, I stay up here a lot. Me and Kevin's really been hunting a lot the last probably 4 years. I mean, I usually come up here. I usually leave on Wednesdays from the house Wednesday night, and then I'll stay up here 2 or 3 nights when I come. I mean, I don't know, man. They've just welcomed me in. I mean, never charged me a dime to stay over there, and I mean, I've stayed over there a bunch. But I mean, he's kind of showed me around the lake. I mean, I've hunted quite a bit over here too with Randy Gadd. I mean, I just know the area real good.
Yeah.
To me, it's the best place in the country to hunt if you want to prepare a dog, for a competition hunt.
Yeah. So, so you think it's better hunting than East Tennessee?
Hey, you know the answer to that, Trevor. Oh, too well.
I got it. Well, hey, let's segue that into a little bit about this weekend. Friday night. Do you remember anything about that cast that got you into the Grand 16?
Yeah, Friday night, man. I feel like the coons, they were really down good. I don't know if it was the cooler weather, and I think also too, I think their feed patterns changing. I think they've been in the corn and really been in the cherries good. It looks to me like they're starting to move to the oaks. They're finishing up there, starting to move to the oaks a little bit. I went over into Ohio and hunted, and they were just on the ground good. I mean, every place we turned loose. I mean, we got struck quick. Just everything just worked out. I think one coon we scored like he was treating like 35 seconds. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. How many coons did you end up treeing Friday night, and what score advanced you to the Grand 16?
We scored 6 total on my cast. Ferris treed 5, and I had 1,075.
That ain't a bad night, is it?
Absolutely not.
So you advanced to Saturday, and Saturday was a lot tougher. We could tell from the scores across the board, down quite a bit, and we were out there. That moon all week has kind of messed up the patterns, I think, a little bit, and then it was a little warmer. But still, on Saturday early, you drew out with your cast in the Grand 16. Tell us a little bit about your early cast last night.
The early cast last night, we went over to what they call 5 Mile Circle. It's probably the hardest hunting place over at the lake. A lot of coon in there, but man, it can be rough, super thick. But man, like you said, Trevor, the coons just didn't move good. My dog ran about the whole cast. Probably like 15 minutes left. He come treed. But now I was struck for 100, so that gave me a bonus there. Basham's dog and another little dog, they had treed a coon and a den tree. And then one of the black dogs had made another circle. And I mean, man, that's the first tree my dog had made. And I mean, we was about out of time. And I mean, it's kind of worked out in my favor. Like, I guess you could say the stars lined up there.
Yeah. Hey, we talked about it a little bit last night when we were walking out of the woods. Sometimes it's your night. Dogs look good. The conditions are right. And sometimes you got to grind it out, and a good dog will do that. And I think Ferris proved that last night, especially on the late round last night in the championship cast. You drew out with Cody Carter hunting Cookie. We had Curtis Sparks out there hunting the Penny dog, and the fourth dog, J.R. Gray hunting Scar. Can you tell us a little bit about that final cast?
Man, I tell you what, Trev, that was a tough one last night late. I mean, once again, I just don't feel like the coons was down. I mean, man, Cookie's tough as nails. Scar's tough. I've hunted with JR several times here recently. He's always got a good dog. I mean, I just didn't feel like the coons was down. I mean, it was a grind. I mean, it was anybody's cast right there down to the end. Probably not the way that we wanted to finish it up, but I mean, like I told you last night, I mean, nobody has control of how the coons are going to move. And I mean, hunted a phenomenal place. I felt like Chase had us in a great place. I mean, they just wasn't down.
Yeah. And how do you recall on your watch how much time was left on the cast whenever you were able to get Ferris treed in?
I want to say, Trevor, it was 9:35 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, just shy of 10 minutes left in the cast.
Yep.
You got him treed in. He's about 800 yards away. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Back behind us. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that walk. What was going through your mind? Obviously, you could see him on your telemetry system. You probably saw he was on the edge of some ag field over there. What were your thoughts when you were walking to that tree?
I won it. I told Jamie Stroud, he was a backup judge, and I told Jamie Stroud, unless JR got treed before the time ran out, and I wouldn't think that he did because I think Scar was blowed out. But I told Jamie going over, I said, I've won it. I said, he's on the edge. We'll be able to shine it from the grain. And I said, man, he's going to have a coon. Yeah. I mean, I just knew he would have a coon. I mean, like I said, he just don't make many bads at all.
Yeah. We got there. He's right on the edge of that bean field. And you started out, you took the first two to yourself, low light, hitting your squaller a little bit, it seems like, or working your thermal, one of the two. I'm trying to picture the scene in my mind. But from the field side, you weren't having much luck. And you ended up having to crawl through some thickets over there and get down in the bottom on the other side. And then I heard the hollering and the hooping over there. What was that moment like?
Man, it's just, when y'all come to the tree, Chase told me, if I got a coon or a circle, I win. But man, I just didn't want to win this hunt with a circle. I wanted to win with a coon. And just like I said, I was very, very confident that he had it. I thought we would be able to find it from the side that we were on, but when I got back to the other side, kind of how that tree was up on the ditch, it let me look into the tree a little bit better, so it kind of gave me a better view. But I think once we found it and then y'all backed out, I think the coon was pretty easy to find. But I don't know why I didn't see it on the thermal. I guess I'm depending too much on the thermal.
But it was a little thick. It was a little thick, and I think we got it might have made the coon a little bit nervous. We had a fella under there taking some pictures of Ferris, and I didn't know. I thought that after a couple flashes, thing got a little nervous. Might have started moving up, I thought. But yeah, we were able to see it out there in the field, and that's a cool moment, man. Sit under that big, bright, full moon, standing in that bean field, and to see somebody win National Grand Night Champion, that's kind of a humbling feeling to see somebody achieve something like that. It's one of the most prestigious wins of the year in the coonhound sport, and I can't congratulate you enough on that. Is there anybody that you want to give any thanks to that you haven't mentioned from anywhere?
Just my wife. I'm telling you, like I said, golly, for her to let me do what I do, like I said, man, I just stay going all the time up here at Kevin's. Last weekend's the first time she's ever been up. Kevin and Angie had Jackson a birthday party over there. And we come up, and I didn't bring a dog, and we just got over there Friday night and had a really good time. Man, they're really family based. We did a lot of old school stuff. Just like I said, I love the area, and for her to let me do that, golly, hats off to her. I just don't think a lot of women would put up with it.
You're absolutely right. It takes a special kind. And you had a big cheering section from back home too. I know down there in East Tennessee, all the guys down there rooting for you that you compete with week in and week out. So a lot of lifelong friendships down there. So
yeah, and I tell you what, I got to give one more shout out to my man Alan Roberts down there with the new Outlaw light. I appreciate him. That light did me right all weekend. To hunt like we hunt, shine them trees. I think Saturday night I put it in 6 trees and burned it a lot. So I got to give a shout out to Alan too. I mean, he's building a good light. Anybody that needs a light, I highly recommend the Outlaw. I mean, I know you know Alan too. He's not only building a good light, but he's a great person.
Yeah, one of our field reps you're talking about, and yeah, it found that coon, didn't it? The one you needed. Well, hey, I guess what everybody wants to know now, what's next for Ferris? You got some plans coming up? Any major events you got circled on your calendar, or anything, or a breeding in the near future, or what's on the docket for you and Ferris?
Not a bit interested in breeding, Trevor. I just like to hunt.
Yes, sir.
I mean, just 100% want to hunt him. And the next one I got circled to be the zones over at Portland, Indiana.
There you go, man. Well, hey, Lee, congratulations. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you wearing your Tennessee orange to getting this picture in here. And hey, good luck down the road, man.
Thank you, Trevor.
I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Lee. Well deserved. He's a guy who hunts really hard. He gives a lot of support to the clubs there in East Tennessee and even up here in Indiana. I know he comes up with Kevin Cable and hunts a lot up here too. So congratulations to him. Well deserved. Great hunter, great dog. So, well, that's kind of an end for today's podcast. We have a bunch of interviews on tap though, so we hope you stay tuned for next week's episode. I know we were both kind of excited for some of the interviews we did. You had some good ones you liked, right?
Yeah, we certainly did. I sat down with, I think, about 8 or 9 different folks that I sat and, tried to do 4 or 5 minute clips from each one of them. So just a couple that one of them that I was really looking forward to was a couple from Idaho, Kevin and Nancy Hall. They came all the way out from Idaho, their first time at Autumn Oaks, and I got to take them around a little bit, give them a little mini tour of Autumn Oaks. So you're going to hear from them and several others. The color for Kurt Ehring from Missouri, had to pull him in, and several others. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I had a chance to talk to another 5 or 6 people, I guess, as well. And I was glad to talk to, I didn't have a chance to talk to anybody at Walker Day, so I was able to get Brett Hall on. We're going to talk a little bit about the Walker Association as well as Autumn Oaks and everything he does there. Talk to Jamie Estep about the slams, as he was the master of hounds at that. And I think it's going to be a good listen. So be sure you come back next week and listen to the UKC Hunting Ops podcast. Thank you for listening to the UKC Hunting Ops podcast. Be sure to give us a follow so you don't miss any of our new episodes or content.